So before we start today's session, there is an announcement that you should know, and we are starting this geography optional program that is for UPSC main examination. And this is by me, Dr. Krishna Anand, and I'm a faculty at Shield IS. So if you're interested in this particular course, the course is going to start on 24th June 2024, and you can connect us on this particular number that's there on the screen, and I'll give the number in the description of this video as well. So you can see all the features are listed here: daily classes, in-depth coverage of subject, backup material, study material, performance mapping, writing practices, and of course the continuous mentorship till examination for all the optional students. So if you want to take this course, the time is now. You can connect with us. And also there are many other popular courses at the Shield IS. So you can visit the website and you look into the General Studies Foundation course, optional foundation courses, Achieve Rank in UPSC course, and NCRT courses. So these are the courses that we run at Shield IS, and you can look into them. So now let's begin our session. So this rapid revision series is going to continue every day at 9 p.m. as you know, and I have already given the link of the website, the shieldis.in. You can go to the website for all the courses that we discussed, and the link for Telegram channel is also given where you can download these study materials. Now coming to the topic for today, National Hydrogen Mission, right? That's the first thing. So remember, National Hydrogen Mission aims to cut down carbon emissions. That's the first thing. And here 25 crore rupees is the allocated budget, Union Budget 21-22. So for research and development, this allocation has been done, and the target is that which produce 3/4 of the hydrogen from renewable sources by 2050. And of course, we are looking towards furthermore in terms of cooperation with the other countries, which is called GCC countries. So look into Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Oman, where you have this particular draft paper as well. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, is looking into it, and there is next 800 crores of finance for next 3 years, and a lot of investment is going in this sector. So it is important sector, remember. So Gulf Cooperation Council countries are supposed to be important for us. So these three countries name you should not forget. Now coming to hydrogen energy, the whole idea is zero carbon content, right? So roughly what we are doing here is that it is a non-polluting source of energy in contrast to the hydrocarbons, and have net carbon content in the range of 75 to 85%. And hydrogen energy is expected to reduce carbon emissions that are set to jump by say 1.5 billion tons by 2021. So that's why it becomes more important. International Renewable Energy Agency, that is IRENA is very going to be important. And Hydrogen Council report 2021 mentions global investments. So this is why it can be there in the question in coming examination. Now, how green hydrogen is produced? So you can look into this particular diagram, and you can download the material, and you can also practice this particular sequence if you are going for answer writing later on, because this is also going to be an important topic for the mains examination. So green hydrogen production is, first thing, renewable energy is created using solar and wind power. Then this power feeds the system which is called electrolyzer, right, which separates water into hydrogen and oxygen. And then this particular hydrogen gas is stored, right, and then it is used and it is shipped and for fuel purposes. So cryo compressed tanks are what is going to be used for the transport, right? Cryo basically is at very low temperatures. Now hydrogen energy is in India, if you observe, so as early as 2003, National Hydrogen Energy Board was constituted, and in 2006, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy laid the foundations here. So National Hydrogen Energy Roadmap is what we are talking about in terms of green initiatives by India. And Mission Innovation Challenge, right? This challenge is very important here to look into clean hydrogen. So by 2050, India intends to produce 3/4 of its hydrogen from renewable sources. Now, 100 research groups already are there. Look into the names of some of them. It's given here. So you have Praxair in USA, then Linde, then you have Sajim, then you have Air Liquide, so France. A lot of work in France is going on. In USA, you have Fuel Cell, Air Products USA, then you have Heliocentris of Germany. So maybe they ask a question related to some of these institutions or research groups, which is looking into this fuel cell technology using hydrogen, right? So it's going to be very important here, right? An Indo-US joint venture, if you observe, it's called Inox. So these are some of the names. You can take a reading. Quick reading can be very helpful. And hydrogen energy and GCC. So Qatar is the largest consumer here. That's why we observe that if you are going to produce, there is a consumer already waiting. So Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, UAE, and Bahrain. These are the countries which are consuming hydrogen, right? So this is what is important for us. Now let's look into the Arctic Council. So Arctic Council is something which is considered very important milestone in cooperation of circumpolar north. So it is through Ottawa, that is in Canada, Ottawa Declaration, the 8 Arctic states right, are looking towards cooperation, coordination, and all those things which we talk about whenever there is a conference of parties. So Arctic Council is leading intergovernmental forum. That's important. And 6 working groups are there. So first is called ACAP, Arctic Contaminants Action Program. The contaminants obviously looking into the pollution emissions. Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Program is AMAP, right? That's monitoring the pollution level and for climate change and also looking into glaciers. Conservation of Arctic flora and fauna. So this is related to biodiversity, of course. And then you have EPPR, so emergency prevention preparedness. So this is looking into disaster management. Then it is called PAME, PAME, so protection of Arctic marine environment. And then we have SDWG, so that is Sustainable Development Working Group. So these are very important groups here. Now, what are the 8 member states? So obviously Denmark, Canada, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russian Federation, Sweden, and USA. These are the states here, permanent participants. If you observe, who are the observer states? So France, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, Spain, right? All of these are observational states or observer states. Republic of Korea and Singapore, Republic of India. So we are all under observers. So this was earlier in 2019 to 21. Now it is with Norway. Remember, till 2025, Norway is the chairmanship, who's holding the chairmanship here. Now, the next topic is Arctic amplification. This is a spelling mistake, guys. So remember, polar amplification or Arctic amplification. When you amplify something, what happens? What is happening to the basic phenomena? That there is always a higher degree of the same phenomena, that is global warming. So it's amplifying, means ice is melting faster, ice albedo feedback, lapse rate feedback, water vapor feedback, and ocean heat transport. These are the primary causes for this Arctic amplification, which is in news. So sea ice and snow have this high albedo, and what's happening here, implying that they are capable of reflecting most of the solar radiation as opposed to water and land. And in Arctic's case, the global warming is resulting in diminishing sea ice. So of course, more heating, more amplification, right? This is the schematic diagram. And then thawing of permafrost, releasing of more methane from inside. These are the things happening. Wildfire in the fauna, airborne smoke, these things are the problematic. And impact on India is where you need to look into. So a study found that reduced sea ice in Barents and Kara Sea, remember, north of Russia, Barents Sea and Kara Sea region, right, can lead to extreme rainfall events in India, right? And has an impact on monsoon, especially in September and October. So study titled A Possible Relation Between Arctic Sea Ice and Late Season and Summer Monsoon Rainfall Extreme. So this is something you need to look into. And obviously the State of Environment report you need to look into. Lightning in Arctic. So looked into, lightning increases, has tripled in frequency. These are in news. Then we have Antarctic Treaty. So December 1, 1959, this is the first treaty that was signed, and 12 country names are here: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, UK, US, and Soviet Union, the erstwhile Soviet Union. So now it entered into force in 1961, and since then we have been looking into Antarctic Treaty. So the purpose is to look into the Antarctica, and it should remain free from any international sovereignty dispute, but still there is a dispute. Right. So this is why Antarctic Treaty becomes more important. And obviously the polar areas due to climate change are under the consideration. So some important points of the treaty is here in this diagram itself. So no military activities, complete freedom on research and science. All these things are important here. So you can take a look into this aspect as well. Coming to the next topic, it's heat from the data centers. Now, the data center is a place where physical facilities are there, right? And it has a lot of heat generation. So what happens here, if you observe, between 80 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature. And people don't understand that these data centers also are, one of the areas where there is a problem of heat concern. So what is the scale of their carbon footprint if you look into? So around 200 terawatt hours, CWH of electricity, which is more than 1% of world's total electricity, is going to these data centers, right? So contribute 0.3% of all global CO2 emissions. And this is according to International Energy Agency, IEA. So it was in the news and it's important for us to know. So what is Microsoft's plan to cut carbon emission in Finland? And that's where they are providing clean heat to homes, business and public buildings in Helsinki, and can cause reduction of 400,000 tons of CO2 emissions annually. If they are going to recycle it, it's going to be very important. So first thing is remove the coal-fired units, right? It's going to be very important here. Now, district heating here, this one concept, is most popular method of heating premises in Finland. It is system of generating heat in centralized location by capturing heat and then distributing it to the buildings. This is called centralization, right? District heating, right? So new generation of district heating is based on replacing fossil fuels with flexible solutions of renewable energy. So fossil fuels reduction is very important here. Now looking into the heat and data centers here in the Nordic and Baltic countries, because of the district heating, as well as in Russia and China, these cold areas, so data centers thrive in cold climates. Their location in cold climate helps to cut down on need to cool server rooms, right? So this is something which is supposedly important. Now, which other companies are doing this? So Facebook, Apple, fast fashion retailer H&M is also doing, IBM data center, and you have Quebecor in Canada. So they are doing it. Now comes to the next topic, which is very important for us in India, is urban flooding. And there could be one potential question. So I'm marking it VVI here. Okay. So urban flooding becomes very important, and there is a flood risk increase from 1.8 to 8 times here, right? In flood peaks and flood volumes by 6 times. Now look, why is it happening? So encroachment of drainage challenge in the city, that's the first thing. New construction activities, climate change, of course, less time and more rainfall, so frequency has increased. Unplanned tourism activities and non-biodegradable matters into the river, lakes, ponds, everywhere, especially in the drain pipes in the cities, and uninformed release of water from dams. So this is something where Chennai floods, remember. So you have Chembarambakkam lake which outflow, and you have illegal mining activities, of course. So this is something happening in Jisman Lake, Jodhpur, Kaveri River in Tamil Nadu, and then there are issues. So you have steps for it. So there is a concept that we need to build which cities? Sponge cities. So there could be a question on sponge cities, guys. I'm marking it VVI again. So Sponge City mission is where you have good water table, rainwater harvesting systems, green roofing in the cities. It's very important for, the Amrit mission that we have, Atal mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation. Right, coming to cloudburst again, there could be one potential question from here. So remember, cloudburst is a very intense rainfall in short duration. So this is when our IMD defines 100 millimeter per hour rainfall and exceeding that in a given 20 to 30 square kilometer. Then it is called cloudburst. So monsoon drifts and cloudbursts have become more frequent, and we say climate change is the reason. So impact of climate change, consequences is obviously flash floods, landslides, mud flows, land carving, and prediction is still not possible. So there is no satisfactory technique yet. So we need to work on that as well. Coming to geoengineering sector. So geoengineering proposal is very important. And remember, carbon dioxide removal, CDR, and solar radiation management, SRM projects. Okay, that's where geoengineering is concerned, right? So examples of CDR techniques are given here. Afforestation, reforestation. Then you have something called biochar. So converting biomass into charcoal. This is called biocharing. And then you have bioenergy and carbon rapture and storage. So you see BECCS. And then ocean fertilization. These are using, phytoplanktons, which stimulate this and they consume all the carbon dioxide, right? That's important. Coming to SRM, we have already talked about SRM. So space-based reflectors, marine cloud brightening, cirrus cloud thinning, and surface albedo modification. So these are some things which are used, and also there is aerosol intervention called SAI. So these are the methods. And then if you observe, SAI is going to be very important. So it's a proposed method for solar geoengineering, where we are doing this cooling effect, but then the problem is global dimming as well, right? So if the temperatures are dimmed, then what will happen? So it will change the entire ecology. That's why we say that these processes are there, but then it will have an impact on agriculture as well. Right. So this is something where if you have to control the temperature, you have to also look into that. If temperature is controlled by these means, by SAI and SAR means, what is going to be happening? Coming to biodecomposers, they have become really very important for our waste generation thing that we do. Right. So accelerated natural decomposition process of carbon residues, and this concoction releases microorganisms like fungi, bacteria, enzymes, and they break down the waste matter. Right, so some bacteria example, Bacillus, Clostridium, E. coli, Salmonella, right, fungi, mushroom, mole, yeast, and then you have earthworm, then you have insects like beetles, flies, ants, maggots, and arthropods, basically arthropoda, so it's millipede and wood lice. Coming to Pusa biodecomposer, this is very important here. So it's a fungi-based liquid solution, and fungi thrives at 30 to 32 degrees Celsius, right? And then you put enzyme to digest cellulose. And here, this Indian Council of Agricultural Research has named ICR campus at Pusa Road. So that's how it's called, Pusa biodecomposer. So biodecomposers are going to be very important. Its efficacy, if you observe, so it needs to be sprayed after harvest. So stubble burning problem has this one solution. So it can be asked in context of stubble burning issue, right? Parali, that we say, stubble burning issue and biodecomposer. So there is already a biodecomposer in the market, right? But obviously their utility and the ground effect has to be looked into. Then there is something called Climate Change Performance Index, CCPI, right? So India secured 7th position, which is a great position, by the way. So CCPI is published annually since 2005, looking into the track record and monitoring tools for countries for climate protection. So here, if you observe greenhouse gas emissions, renewable energy, and energy usage, climate policy, all these are the performance metrics, right? Matrices, if you observe, and then you'll see that what's happening, it indicates that climate mitigation efforts of these 63 countries and the EU, which collectively account for 90% of global greenhouse gases, right, is talked about here. So it's published by German Watch, the New Climate Institute, and Climate Action Network International, these three institutes, right? So that's why it becomes important. And then we have Coal Report of 2023, International Energy Agency's annual coal market report. And what does it say? There is a significant shift in trajectory of global coal demand, hitting at structural decline by 2026. So expansion of renewable energy is leading to the decline. That's what the whole point here is. So global coal demands record high in 2022, just after the opening of economies after post COVID era, right? But now gradually it's going to subside. So China experienced a demand rise of 4.6%. India saw substantial increase of 9%, right? These are the data. Now, future projection is something which is very important. And here you can look into that overall global coal consumption in 2026 is projected to be 2.3% lower that of 2023. That's a good news. China, India, and Indonesia now account for more than 70% of world's coal production, right? So this is important here. Now, looking into the other aspect, right? Factors influencing the decline. So global shift towards renewable energy, increase of hydropower output, solar photovoltaic cell, and also looking into nuclear generation. These are the four things which are the main reasons for this particular coal demand going down. Now you have something which is important here, DVM. What is DVM? It's basically a synchronized movement of marine organisms, deep sea creatures like zooplankton, and as they are migrating vertically in the warm column, ascending towards the surface at night and descending deeper levels during the day. So this is synchronized movement called DVM, so diel vertical migration, right? This happens in the deep ocean to the shallow ocean, so which is called this, the base. So abyssopelagic, mesopelagic, and epipelagic. We have talked about this in oceanography lectures. If you want to look into, you can take a look. So here what's happening within the twilight zone, this shadow zone here, this one, right? Migratory animal contribute to the food chain, which is very important, and resultant carbon-rich waste sinks in the ocean floor, becoming crucial carbon sink. So this is going to be important for carbon sink. So that's why we have to be looking into these aspects. So that's good enough for today's session. And then we meet tomorrow again at the same time. So I hope you are having a good revision with these topics. Please download the study material from our Telegram channel. The link is there in the description. And visit shedias.in if you want to register for my geography optional course. You can connect there. The details are given, and all the best wishes to all the aspirants. Take care.